Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Alfina Rahmalia from 5G and I would like to explain about 5 assessment of teaching process. The first is assessment speaking, second is assessment reading, third is assessment writing, fourth is assessment listening, and the last is assessment grammar. So check this out. The first is assessing speaking. First material for assessing speaking, I choose marking system for assessing speaking. Marking system for assessing speaking is so many kind, such as the number of assessor, the selection and training of assessors, marking recorder oral test, mark categories, weighting, rate scales, and the role of the assessor, classroom assessment, and large-scale assessment. For the rating scales is two kind as follow: holistic scoring and analytic scoring. Holistic scoring, in this assessment, the first thing that is assessed is the quality of a writing, then sentence organization and grammar, word choice and order. Holistic assessment results in more general description for categories, but includes implicit or explicit elements of writing that differ. The results are usually global scores such as A, B, C, and D. Second is analytic scoring. Analytic scoring is mode student writing is evaluated based on detailed scores for elements of writing such as vocabulary, grammar, composition, or mechanics. Results are based on several sub-values. There are 5 important things that must be used as a benchmark in this assessment. First is content, second organizing, third word choice, fourth syntax, and the last mechanic. The second material of assessing speaking is speaking test, authenticity of task. Authenticity of task include two kinds as follow: product authenticity and process authenticity. Product authenticity is type of authenticity refers to realism and is most readily apparent in speaking techniques such as role play or simulation, which usually create a real world scenario. The second is process of authenticity. This refers to communicative authenticity. A situation is created in which some kind of information, opinion, or reasoning gap has to be bridged using spoken language, regardless of whether such a task would exist in the real world. Next is some types of speaking tasks. The first, discussion or conversation, oral report, learner joint discussion or decision making, role play, interview, learner description and recreation, form filling, question and answer, reading blank dialogue, giving instruction or description or explanation, using a picture or a picture story as a cue, precise or retell story or text from oral stimulus, retelling a story from writing stimulus, reading aloud, translating or interpreting, sentence completion from oral or writing stimulus, sentence correction, sentence transformation, and the last, sentence repetition. The second, I will explain about assessing reading. Assessing reading. The first material is teacher especially have a responsibility to understand the uses and the impact of reading assessment and be mindful of the consequence of assessment. Reading assessments are used for many purposes, but all appropriate uses begin from an understanding of the reading construct, an awareness of the development of reading abilities, and an effort to reflect the construct in assessment tasks. Reading assessment can be intimidating and sometimes overwhelming for many teachers and administrators. Thus, a first goal of this chapter is to present a straightforward framework that categorizes the many uses and purposes for assessment. Categories goals for reading assessment is the first, reading proficiency assessment, 2. Assessment of classroom learning, 3. Assessment for learning, 4. Assessment of curricular effectiveness, 5. Assessment for research purposes. Types of closed tests is fixed ratio closed or word deletion. Words are deleted systematically by counting of regardless of the part of speech. Second is rational deletion clause. Rational deletion clause is words are deleted by part of speech or content area vocabulary. The third is mesh technique. Mesh technique is 3 word choices are provided at each missing word interval. And the last is limited clause. Limited clause is word choices, one per blank, or provide altogether in a word bank at the top or bottom of the page. Next is assessing writing. The first material I will explain about designing assessment tasks, imitative writing. Tasks in handwriting, letter, words, and punctuation include yang pertama adalah copying. The test taker reads, copy the following words in the space given. Yang kedua adalah listening close selection task. Test taker here write the missing word in each blank. Below the story is a list of words to choose from. Yang ketiga adalah picture cue task. Familiar pictures are displayed and test takers are told to write the words that the picture represents. Yang keempat adalah form completion task. Dan yang terakhir adalah converting numbers and abbreviations to words. The second material of assessing writing is scoring methods for responsive and extensive writing. Yang pertama, holistic scoring. In this assessment, the first thing that is assessed is the quality of our writing. Then, sentence organization and grammar, word choice, and other. Holistic assessment result in more general description for categories, but includes implicit or explicit element of writing that differ. The results are usually global scores such as A, B, C, D, and E. Yang kedua adalah primary trait scoring. In this method, the things that are considered are summaries, research reports, description using verbs, and the author's response to the content. Yang ketiga adalah analytic scoring. In this mode, students' writing is evaluated based on detailed scores for elements of writing such as vocabulary, grammar, composition, or mechanic. Results are based on several sub-values. There are 5 important things that must be used as a benchmark in this assessment. Content, organizing, word choice, syntax, and mechanics. The first material in assessing listening is the importance of listening. One reason for this emphasis is that listening is often implied as a component of speaking. How could you speak a language without also listening? Therefore, we need to pay close attention to listening as a mode of performance for assessment in the classroom. Begins with basic principle and type of listening and then move to the tasks that can be used to assess listening. Next, the second material in assessing listening, I will explain the objective of listening assessment. The first, comprehending of surface structure elements such as phenome, words, intonation, and grammatical category. Type of design and assessment task is intensive listening. The second, understanding of pragmatic context. We can design this objective by using responsive listening to a relatively short stretch of language in order to make an equally short response. Examples of responsive listening are appropriate response to a question and open-ended response to a question. Next, the third is determining meaning of auditory input. The type of this part is selective listening. We can design an assessment task by using selective listening. It means processing stretches of discourse such a short monologue for several minutes in order to scan for certain information. Next, the fourth is developing the keys global or comprehensive understanding. The type of this part is extensive listening, where listening is used to develop global understanding of spoken language. The design assessment tasks for extensive listening are dictation and communicative stimulus response tasks that divided into dialogue and multiple choice comprehension, item and dialogue, and authentic question on details. The last material is assessing grammar. First material, I will explain 5 characteristics to measure communicative grammar. Yang pertama, the test must provide more context than only a single sentence. Yang kedua, the test taker should understand what the communicative purpose of the test is. Yang ketiga, he or she should also know who the intended audience is. Yang keempat, he or she must have to focus on meaning and not form to answer correctly. Yang terakhir, recognize is not sufficient. The test taker must be able to produce grammatical responses. The second material of assessing grammar is alternative assignment. First, games class designed to restrict their language needs. Usually these games are defined by their focus on the use of language, limited option for communication, accuracy, observation. Yang kedua, online activities in multimedia teaching times. Teacher can use internet as a way of assessing students' ability of grammar. Yang ketiga is portfolio. Portfolio, purposeful collection of student work that tells the viewer about the student works, should be organized by chronological order and category. Teacher can evaluate the children's achievement. I think enough from my presentation today. I hope you enjoy it and see you other soon. Bye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.